Diana.
Thank you, Gerald, very much, and to Rich Gordon, my wonderful partners in public service, both of whom hold key seats in both the state Senate and the lower house in the Assembly, where each one of them is subcommittee chair of the transportation budget committees in their respective bodies. So they have a more than a key and powerful role in this whole issue of our transportation system here on the peninsula. So I'm very proud to join them in issuing this joint statement. You know that we have worked closely with one another, observed many things on the peninsula and our communities, and put our heads together, we think, for the good of those that we represent and for future generations of our region. I believe that Caltrain, which is the spine of our transportation system today, running through 3 counties, should remain our anchor commuter system for the 21st century, period. To transform Caltrain, I've worked with the United States Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood. I think some of you know that he was my colleague in the House, and now, as a Republican, became part of the President's cabinet, so we have known one another and worked with each other for many years, working with him, with the United States Federal Rail Administration, Administrator Szabo, and several members of the Bay Area congressional delegation to advocate for federal support of what I am referring to, a Caltrain for the 21st century. Our federal working group, which is what we call it, was established during a meeting with Secretary LaHood last September in my office in Washington, D.C. And we identified the Positive Train Control Project as a top priority and one of the first in terms of the important upgrades for the Caltrain system. And we're working, coordinating with each other to secure the funding for this system. We all know that money is tough to come by. We know it here in our local community, we know it throughout the state, and we certainly know it in Washington, D.C. So every resource that we pursue, we know is difficult to secure, but it also has to be used wisely and invested well. I think that this investment in the PTC system and a blended system that integrates high-speed rail coming up from the Central Valley with a 21st century Caltrain will benefit not only my constituents on the peninsula, but Caltrain and future generations as well. That blended system should stay within the existing right-of-way, avoid aerial viaducts, and it must be consistent with a project of reasonable size based on credible ridership projections. The California High-Speed Rail Authority, and I don't think they started out by intending to alienate anyone, but it is what it is, and I don't think I need to walk people through what has taken place over many, many months here on the peninsula. I really believe that they have squandered a great deal of the goodwill on the peninsula by not honoring our communities. Each community is unique. Each community has its own history. Each community has its own traditions, and they are proud of it, and they are entitled to this source of pride. So I believe that it really, this presents an opportunity for us. We are Californians. Californians always are about the future, looking out to the future and then shaping it. And I believe that this statement embodies a vision about what will be best for the South Bay and the peninsula and for generations to come. The development of the next EIR is a way for something positive to take place for Caltrain and the peninsula. So this joint statement that we issue today, I believe, is clear in what a project that is done right, as Senator Simitian said, what it should look like. And rest assured that I'll work with my colleagues to hold the California High-Speed Rail Authority to this standard. I believe our communities, our constituents, and our region deserve a modernized Caltrain, and I'll fight to ensure that the principles we've announced today for a blended system on the peninsula and the resources for it are eventually achieved. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning.
Good morning. I'm Eshoo Gordon. I represent the 21st Assembly District in the state of California. And let me start by saying that I believe that high-speed rail should be a part of California's future. We have always been a visionary place, a place willing to experiment, and so we should be the leader in high-speed rail. I am realistic, however, and understand that it will be decades before we truly have a high-speed rail system in California. Given the current financial straits at the federal and state level, amassing the funds necessary to build this system across California will take time. In the interim, there will be funds spent on high-speed rail, and I believe that it is imperative for the High-Speed Rail Authority to guarantee that whatever funds are spent in a way that enhance and upgrade our existing intercity and regionalized transportation systems in California. Wherever high-speed rail is built, it needs to be able to connect and interface in a seamless fashion with the local transit systems. And what we have proposed today in our joint statement would do that for the peninsula. A system for a 21st century Caltrain blended with high-speed rail. Not duplicative systems, not extra expensive systems, but a most cost-effective approach to guaranteeing that Caltrain is strong for our future here as a regional transportation system, but also that we build high-speed rail in a way that works for our communities here on the peninsula. With that, I think we will